Now, to install Antimedia server on AWS, what you need is to have an AWS account. I believe that you know the process of setting up this account. You basically need an email address, a phone number, and credit card information. Now, if you don't know how to access AWS, just make sure you can take use of Google. You can take use of Google and search for AWS in Google, and you definitely go there. See, it's aws.amazon.com, and by default you're gonna be landed to a page that may require you to either sign up or you've been required to log in. Personally, I'm already logged in, and so what I can do is to let me go back to log back in. Okay, so what we're gonna do is to deploy a server on an AWS that has Antimedia running. So we're gonna take use of Ec2 Instance to configure everything that we need. Now, the first thing that we need is to configure the Ec2 instance. If you don't know how to access Ec2 instance, you can search for it, Ec2, and you'll be taken to the Ec2 dashboard. Now, when inside the Ec2 dashboard, you can launch an instance. So from here, we're gonna have to select our a couple of things to get our server up and running. As we know, Antimedia runs on Ubuntu, and you have to select Ubuntu, and you have to keep this. You have to put this one into consideration. The latest Ubuntu version is already out, which is Ubuntu 2022. Yeah, Ubuntu 22, but Antimedia hasn't. They haven't updated the GitHub, their GitHub repository to make sure that the version, the current version is compatible with the current Ubuntu, and so we have to make sure we select Ubuntu 2020. Don't select Ubuntu 2022. Select Ubuntu 20.04. Don't select Ubuntu 2020. 22.02.04. You have to select Ubuntu. This Ubuntu, you know. And now, the next thing that we need is to configure the instance type. The instance type allows you to customize the computing resources that could be attached to your server. If you want more computing resources, you can select the number of vCPU cores that you need, and also the amount of RAM you need. Now, you must be prepared to pay for more resources. If you select more computing power, it always comes with a price tag on AWS. In this tutorial, I'm gonna just go with the free tier instance, which is 1 vCPU and 1 GB of RAM. So I'll just go with that because it is free, and I'm not gonna be charged when I select it. But if you want like a powerful machine, you may consider looking at G4 instances, because G4 instances have they have they have GPU integrated. They are integrated with GPU, so these instances are high performing instances and they are very expensive. So assuming that you want to run powerful streaming infrastructure on AWS with 4K streaming resolutions, then you may need to select instances that are GPU optimized. So I will definitely make a video about which kind of server you need to run a powerful streaming infrastructure. So I hope that you're gonna subscribe and you come back, so I will take you through all the steps someday about that topic. For now, let me just go with my free tier instance and then select. I will select that. As you can see, it has one virtual CPU and 1 GB or JB of memory. And the next thing is to create a key pair. A key pair means that we're gonna create it creates a public key and a private key. A public key will be stored on your server and or will be stored on your account, AWS account, and a private key will be downloaded on your local machine, and which we will be using to authenticate our login, the SSH login. So if you don't know how to create SSH, you just click, if you don't know how to create a key pair, you just click create key pair and make sure you select this RSA and make sure the format is PEM. So this will create a key pair that has an extension of PEM. Make sure you name your key pair. You can name it anything you want. You can name your key pair anything you want. There's no standard procedure of doing it. So for me, I already have a key pair created, so I'm not gonna create another key pair. So I will select my key pair, which is yuga-comp-pair. You can as well create yours and name it anything and make sure it has a .pem extension. The next thing is to make sure we configure the necessary firewall rules. For now, let's create a firewall rule, and this firewall rule will allow SSH traffic from anywhere. This means that from anywhere we can connect to our server using SSH. Now there are different firewall rules that we will have to configure, but let's first deal with this step by step, and then we will come back to set up other firewall rules when we return. Now the next thing is to make sure you have enough storage on your server. For a free tier account, a free tier plan, AWS allows you to get up to 30 GB of storage. So I can just give my server an extra storage as long as I'm not gonna be charged, and that is all. Let me repeat the process once more so that you don't get confused. First, select Ubuntu. Because Antimedia runs on Ubuntu or it runs on Linux, most preferably Ubuntu, and make sure the Linux you are selecting is version 20.04. Don't select Linux version 22.04 because this is the newest Ubuntu release, and it's not yet compatible with the current version of Antimedia server. So make sure you're selecting 20.04 version. Now since we've selected, we don't want to we just have to go with the configurations. And now the next thing is to make sure you have a key pair. So when you create a key pair, you're gonna you name your key pair anything you want. You can name it maybe security. Make sure it is stored in a safe place. Maybe name it server, just like that, or anything you want, and then click create. When you click create, you will be prompted to download the private key, and that is all. Make sure you remember where your key has been downloaded. And then you must allow SSH traffic to come through your to connect to your server, to come to your server. So you should allow your server to allow SSH traffic. If you don't allow SSH, we won't be able to connect to the server. And make sure it is anywhere. And then storage, and that is all. So for now, those are the basic configurations we need, and we will launch the instance. Now our instance is basically, I believe it is basically creating, or it is provisioning. So you have to give it some time to complete the provisioning. It is pending. This means that the instance is actually provisioning, so you have to wait until it shows or indicates that it's running. Okay, now our server is now running. What we need is to connect to the server. How do we do that? You just have to right click, or you can right click and select connect, or you can even click here connect. When you click connect, you're gonna be taken to another page that gives you the command that you can run on your machine, on your local machine, the SSH command. Now this SSH command means that SSH and the name of your private key that is downloaded on your machine. Make sure you know the directory where your private key is located has been downloaded to. For example, my private key is in the download folder. So when if I have to go back to the download folder, cd downloads, and then ls, sorry. Okay, so my key is located in here in downloads. This is where my key is. Okay, so make sure that you are in the same directory where your key is downloaded. If it is on desktop, then just make sure you are on the your desktop. Now in the desktop folder. Now the next thing that I need to do is to run this command. What I have to do is to copy. You just have to copy, because this is the name of my private key, and the Ubuntu is the username, is the default username. They have assigned your server use. So automatically by default, Ubuntu is the default name for the default username for your server. And now this one is the public DNS for your server. Alternatively, you can use the public IP address, or you can use the public DNS for your server. So this public DNS is automatically allocated to your server by AWS. Now let's let's copy and then paste. Okay, now when we paste, we're gonna hit enter. Okay, let me try to understand what is happening here. Okay, we just had to repeat it again. So when you copy and paste in your SSH terminal, and then you're gonna be prompted to type yes, and then you wait for the server to connect. So we are now connected to the server. The first thing we need to do is to I'm always confusing cmd command with so the first thing we need to do is to update our server. Sudo update. So you have to update your server. As the server is updating, I'm gonna leave the link to the article that I wrote about installing a server, Antimedia server on Antimedia server on Ubuntu. I wrote a very good article, so I'm gonna leave it in the description below so that you can read through. If you can't watch the video, you can as well read the article that I wrote, so you can read through the article and follow the procedures that I put here. Now this article, we're gonna follow some of these procedures as we install the Antimedia server. So what you have to do is to open the article and then follow the procedures that I put here in this article. As I say, now we have already updated our server. What you have to do is to download the community license. There is something people don't understand. Antimedia offers a free license, which is the community version. When you go to Antimedia page and you type in Antimedia, Antimedia. Okay, so when you go to Antimedia, this is the Antimedia page. So when there are a couple of licenses that are offered, you can run they have a pre-configured machine on AWS, but they charge $0.28 per hour, but this money doesn't include the server cost. So this is the license cost. This means that if your server is going to run for 10 hours, let's say 10 hours, you have to multiply 10 hours times 0.29, and that is the amount of money they're gonna charge you for per hour. Again, you have to pay the cost, the server cost, because AWS will charge you for the infrastructure, and then Antimedia will charge you for the license. So if you are running a premium or an enterprise version and you're in the cloud, you definitely they're gonna charge you $0.26 per hour as the license fee, and then depending on the server instance you're running, AWS will also be charging you either per hour or monthly. And this is the same story on other cloud computing platforms like Azure, and things like that. Anyway, you can run Antimedia on AWS, Azure, Linode, DigitalOcean, Voluta, Alibaba Cloud, and things like that. Now you can also get a self-hosted license. A self-hosted license, what's the difference between the cloud-based license and a self-hosted license? A cloud a Antimedia cloud license means that the developers of Antimedia have already configured the machines and everything, the firewalls and stuff like that. So you have to do is to just select and launch the instance, and everything will be already up and running for you. Now, a self-hosted license means that you have your own server somewhere, either on any other platform, and you want to run Antimedia. So what we are doing here is that we are basically doing something that is similar to self-hosted. We've not selected Antimedia cloud instance on AWS. We are just running our own server and configure everything from scratch. So this is more like a self-hosted scenario. Now, when you're doing it, if you want a self-hosted license, basically they're gonna charge you either hourly or monthly, depending on your capacity, on on your needs. They're gonna charge you hourly. Per hour is 0.09. So you could probably start from here. They offer you 100 hours free every month. So they offer you 100 hours free every month. And then you can buy an annual license at $69. Or you can buy a perpetual license and things like that. Alternatively, Antimedia also offers a free version. So the free version is called Antimedia Server Community Edition. You have to just scroll down. You shouldn't confuse the Community Edition with this one, with the hourly license. Under the hourly license, they're gonna give you only 100 hours free per month or every month. But the community license is free forever. You can use this license free forever. And now what we're gonna do is to use the community edition, and it's gonna take us to the GitHub profile of Antimedia. So this is the current version for the community license. So what we need to do is to download the community script, the community version script on our server. How do we do that? I've actually prepared the commands for doing this. When you read this article that I've written, you have to find it in the description below. This article allows you to download the latest community version, which is 2.4.3, which is this one, 2.4.3. Now all you have to do is to just copy the command. This command will download it from GitHub, and then come back to your SSH terminal. You have to come back to your SSH terminal. Make sure you are in a directorate of your choice. Make sure you are in your any directorate, home directorate. Make sure you remember the directorate where you want to install to download the file to. So what you do is to you have to paste the command. Just copy the command, this command. Copy the command from the article I've written, and then paste, and then hit enter to download. We are using wget to download. So the download is complete. Let's try to check and confirm whether the file is there. ls. So the file is there, which is Antimedia Server Community 2.4.3.zip. The next thing is to download the installation script. When you download, there's a difference between the the Antimedia files, and the Antimedia files are packaged in a zip file. They contain all the source codes for the server. Now, there's also what we call the installation script. The installation script is necessary for the installation process of the Antimedia server on Ubuntu. Now, we have also to download that installation script, and it is actually free. So what we have to do is to download the installation script, which is this. I've put the description. You can follow the article that I've written. So just copy and paste. Okay. Yes. Okay. We have to make sure we give some permission to that script. What this command means is that we're gonna use wget to download the script, which is named install antimedia -server.sh, but again to offer some permissions to that script. Now I think it is supposed to run, and let's run the permission on that script and see. Okay, the permission has already reflected. Now let's confirm whether the two files are there. The Antimedia server community zip file is there, and the installation script is there. Now the next thing we need to do is to run the installation. Running the installation, you just have to copy this command and make sure you replace this Antimedia server installation file with the actual name of the zip file. You have to replace it with what? With this, with the name of this zip file that we downloaded. So what we have to do is to only download. We will only copy this side of the command, and then paste, and then space, and copy the name of the zip file as you see it. Copy and then paste. After you paste, you hit enter. Okay, so our Antimedia server is now being installed. The script is being installed. You just have to be patient and wait for the process to finish. The installation process can take some bit of time, but not so much time. So what you have to do is to be patient for the process to complete. Meanwhile, as the installation completes, let's be configuring certain firewall rules that we need. When you scroll down the article that I've written, you'll see that I've talked about opening some ports through the firewall. Now, some of the most important ports for Antimedia by standard, by default, these are the most important ports that you have to open through your firewall, through your server firewall. You have to open TCP port 1935. This one is for RTMP streaming. You have to open TCP port 5080. This is required for unencrypted HTTP for admin URL. So to access Antimedia admin URL, we will use this port to access our URL. the HTTP admin URL. Now this port 5443 is used for HTTPS. This is required when you've configured a domain name on your Antimedia server, and also when you've installed an SSL certificate for your Antimedia server to access the HTTP side of the admin URL. Now in most cases you can also open this port range from 5,000 up to 65,000. You can these ports could be used for web RTC streaming. Now to open these ports, we have to go back to our AWS console and find the security group. We need to find a security group that is allocated to our server. The security group is the security group. You have to scroll down, security and security groups, and now this is the security group that is associated with our server. Depending on yours could be named differently, but make sure you configure the security group that is associated with the server on which Antimedia is installed. So for my case, this is the security group associated with my server. So I'm gonna select it, and then when you select it, down here we have inbound rules and outbound rules. What we are interested in is to configure the inbound rules, and then edit inbound rules. Now no, this is not, sorry, let's go back. Yeah, this is the this is the security group that is associated with my server. Now we are interested in inbound rules, the inbound rules. So we're gonna edit inbound. You select the security group and then edit inbound rules. So as you can see, we had only allowed SSH in our security group, so we're gonna have to allow other to open some ports. As I said, we have to allow these ports. We have to open these ports on Antimedia, or for Antimedia to allow traffic. Now the first port, let's copy this port number TCP and go to add rule, custom TCP, and paste the port number. And now make sure you select anywhere. This basically means anywhere networking. And then again, let's create another port, open another rule, create another rule, copy, and make sure it is custom TCP and paste. Again, make sure it is anywhere. And then let's also do this. This is optional, but you can do it because at some point you have to install SSL. So we have to add custom TCP and then paste. Make sure again it is anywhere, and basically that is all. You can also allow the UDP range, but for now I will go with these ports, this and this and this. And also make sure you add some extra rules, the HTTP rule, which is HTTP. So this is also anywhere. You can also allow put HTTPS anywhere, and that is all. So you save the rules, make sure you we've put inbound rules, not outbound rules. Don't confuse inbound rules and outbound rules. So what we have done is to add inbound rules, not outbound rules. Now the security rules are already configured. Let's go back. Our server is also already installed, so we need to see if the server is running. When we go back, you'll see that there is a command. This command is used to check if the server is running, Antimedia server is running. Sudo service Antimedia status. So copy and paste. So you can see that our server is running. This means that the server is running. Now what's the way forward? We've configured the firewall and also we've confirmed that the server is running. Now to access the admin side of Antimedia server, we have to find the IP address of our Ubuntu server from AWS console. We can do this by going back to the instances, and then this is the instance that we've configured, and then this is the public IP address of our Ubuntu server. So you can copy the public IP address and find on your local computer. You can open a text file or notepad file and paste. You can paste the IP address of the server, and then let's go back to the article. These are for example, if the server isn't running, you can start it by this command, or you can stop it using this command. But the most important one is to find out whether it is running or not. If it's not running, then you can start it using this command. Now to access the admin URL is, let's go down. You can go down and find this. So we're gonna put HTTP and then replace. This is a dummy IP address that I put here for reference. So you can copy it and paste it on the local file and paste. So we will replace this dummy IP address and we replace it with the Ubuntu IP address. Okay, now this is the port that we are going to use, the port 5080, and this is, as you know, we allowed this port through firewall. When you look here, we allowed this port. This is required to access an encrypted HTTP admin URL of your server. So that's why it is appended to the URL. Now we have to copy the URL and then paste in our browser. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this means that the server is running and we've successfully installed it. Now, the first time when you're accessing the URL for your Antimedia server, you have to create, you can create an account. So you can create an account. I'm gonna call it YugaComp Technologies. And I'm gonna put the email address. I'm gonna put YugaComp, and then maybe put the password. Put the password and then create an account. You can as well save if you want. Then let's access the server. Yeah, that is it. So the server is running on AWS. From here you can create your streams, you can create a new app. All you have to do is to select anything, maybe live app, and maybe create, depending on what you want to create. You create a playlist, stream source, IP, camera, live stream, anything that you want. Now there is something that I wanted to tell you. Running Antimedia requires some bit of enough computing power, because obviously you're not gonna stream using 1 GB of RAM and 1 virtual CPU core. You definitely need a robust server that has maybe like 8 virtual CPU cores and maybe 16 GB of RAM. And that's why in this article you're gonna see that I've actually recommended using Contabo to run Antimedia. I've actually been deploying a couple of Antimedia server projects for clients. I've learned that Contabo actually is a good VPS provider in this case. So usually if you compare Contabo with other providers out there, you realize that Contabo is actually much more cheaper than DigitalOcean, than Linode, than Volta. As you can see, a server of 4 virtual CPU cores, you're getting it at basically this amount. But again, at DigitalOcean, they're gonna charge you this amount per month, and this amount per month, and this amount per month. This is why I'd recommend you that maybe you can go with Contabo to deploy Antimedia and then run your live streaming, the live streaming that you need. You can use Antimedia, and you can use Contabo and run in a powerful server like maybe this. You can run this one, or you can run this one, and you can get powerful virtual server, powerful CPU cores. Now for now, that is it. If you have any questions, you can contact me and I will help you with what you need. If you need to contact me, you can find me on Fiverr. I'm always on Fiverr. How do you contact me? You can just go to fiverr.com /Inc Corp, fiverr.com /Inc Corp. You can contact me if you have questions. If you have any question regarding server deployment, you want to deploy an application, you want to deploy a powerful streaming server for your live streaming needs, then you can talk to me via Fiverr. I'm always awake, I'm always around 24/7 on Fiverr. Just talk to me via there. We can chat, ask me any question, and then I will help you. I think basically I'm gonna put the link below in the description, the link to my Fiverr profile, so you can as well you can contact me through that link. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that you got some bit of knowledge about server deployment or Antimedia server deployment on AWS. As I said, if you have some questions, you can contact me via Fiverr. I'll leave the link in the description there. You can also follow the tutorial using the article that I've written about how to install Antimedia server on VPS. Alternatively, you can buy a VPS server, a powerful VPS server from Contabo. Here you can click on my link. When you click on my link, I will get some bit of commission. That's for the purposes of transparency. They won't charge you more, but I will get some bit of commission. So I appreciate that. Maybe if you like my work, you'll be supporting me through clicking my link, and then I get some bit of commission. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that you subscribe to this channel, and also I request you to like the video and hit the notification button. See you.